ladies and gentlemen, may I please call upon on stage early evening primetime anchor of Mirror Now. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause for Charlene Lobo to lead this power-packed conversation. And joining Miss Charlene Lobo on stage, ladies and gentlemen, is someone who's been hitting it straight out of the park, on and off the field. Now making her way on stage, let's give a huge round of applause to welcome Indian batting icon, our very own captain, Mithali Raj, for Times Network presents Knowledge Seminar. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, please. Ladies, the stage is all yours.
Well, thank you. Check. Well, thank you for that lovely introduction. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm truly honored to be sharing the podium with the ambassador of women's cricket in India. She's the woman who's redefined the gentleman's game. She's been flying the Indian flag high up in cricket for over 2 decades now. If grit, determination, and unrelenting courage had a name, it's Mithali Raj. And I'm so pleased to be in conversation with one of the most successful captains of the Indian cricket team. Thank you, Mithali, for joining us this morning. And I must say, you look absolutely gorgeous in this attire. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause to rev her up. So, Mithali, 12 tests, 232 ODIs, 89 T20Is. You've just battered your way through milestone after milestone, and you did it so brilliantly. Do you know how much she scored? 7,805 ODI runs. She's the only female cricketer to have scored more than 7,000 runs in women's ODI. Mithali, you truly are the epitome of inspiration for every young girl out there dreaming of a Blues jersey. How does it feel?
Well, I think it feels nice that many girls now take up this sport. From the days where I would only see the boys playing on the streets, and today I see at least a few girls joining them. So we've come a long way from there, and I never started playing cricket because I want to inspire girls, but the journey has been something which revealed a lot about my own self, and in the process I happened to inspire girls. So I'm just grateful that I got an opportunity to do that.
Talking about opportunity, so by the way, do you know Mithali loves reading? She sketches, and she's a trained Bharatnatyam dancer. So many things. Literally, hats off to that. You know, is it true that until the age of 10, you had no plans to become a cricketer? In fact, your mother wanted you to pursue dancing as a career. It was your father who actually wanted you to be a cricketer. So how did this journey begin? You know, what gave fire to the idea for you to explore your abilities in cricket?
Well, when you say fire, I just had a smirk, because the very reason that I got into sport was because I had, my dad has a background of Air Force, so he was ex-serviceman, and having a dad like that, discipline is utmost in the household. And being the youngest sibling, like I have an older brother, I used to get up very late in the morning. I'm the only one who would sort of rise after the sun rises. Everybody else were early risers. So to inculcate the habit of early rising, my dad put me into sport. So that was my introduction to the sport, unlike the normal stories about my own teammates who took up the sport playing with the boys or with their brothers. But for me, this was my introduction to the sport through my dad. And I joined the summer camp where my brother used to go for his cricket training. Being the only girl in the camp, so I used to get the first preference of batting. You know, I didn't have to really fight.
You were the only girl in the camp. So your brother was training. So is it like you turned out to be an accidental cricketer?
Yes, you can say that. I didn't really had to fight or go and fetch the ball like many of my teammates would say. I used to get first batting, and being the only girl, you sort of get that sort of an attention from the coach also, the extra attention to hold the bat in a certain manner. So I've never played in the backyard or on the streets. I started cricket straight away into an academy in a very professional setup. So probably that was my advantage.
Right. So, I also read in one of your past interviews where you said, when you chose cricket, it sort of came as a bit of a shocker to even your grandparents. So, you were in a joint family. How did your grandparents react? Because that was a time when cricket was truly considered as a gentleman's game, and parents would or families would encourage their daughters to become lawyers, teachers, doctors, engineers. But you had this unconventional career plan in mind.
Coming from a South Indian family, more so a Tamilian family, so all my cousins were all married by early 20s. My grandparents, for them, playing any sport for a girl, for the granddaughters, is sort of a taboo. Like, nobody played any sort of sport in our family.
It was across society, actually. The taboo existed across society.
So, and top it with cricket, a sport which is so rough that, where you spend entire day in the sun. So I remember one of these tournaments where I went, one of the age group tournament, under 19, and those were the days where we played on matting, not much of a helmet person, and because of the ground being so bad, I got hit on my face. So I had stitches here, and when I came back, my grandmother, she was furious on my mother. She said, "You're sending the girl out there alone, and she comes back dark and she has these stitches on her face, so who's going to get married to her," and stuff like that. So she was very furious on my mother, but I think, I feel that it was my destiny to be a cricketer, because there were many challenges that me and my parents have to go through. The hard choices that we made through the journey, probably is the reason why I was able to come so far. Despite a lot of challenges from immediate family members, from the society, but I also had support from my school, where I went, because for my first outing, when I made my debut, in 1999, where we were still not under BCCI.
She was, by the way, 16 and a half back then, 16 and a half when she debuted against Ireland in 99.
Yeah. So, I reached out to my school to fund my trip and my dad's bank. Because we were from a middle-class family, and those days, without funding, without sponsors, it's very difficult. And even though cricket is they say it's a middle-class family sport, unlike golf or tennis, which is, requires a lot of sponsorship. It was difficult. So I did have help from my school, and even times when I missed the entire calendar year in the school, I would be the only student giving exam in the summer vacation in the principal's room to make up for all those absent days and absent, yeah. So I would say that—
Did you get like 80 KTs in college?
Sorry?
Did you get like KTs in college, or it was just like, you managed to complete your exams in time?
Well, I had to do correspondence because I couldn't manage to complete my college in time. Even there was a choice. I had to miss my boards for the 2000 World Cup. And it was a very important decision. One of the, decisions that actually shaped my career, I would say. It is that, I was in my 12th. Boards, and it was coinciding with the tournament out of which they're going to select, the team for the 2000 World Cup in New Zealand.
Right.
And my parents asked me, "What do you want to do?" So, like any other teenager, I said, I don't want to fall back a year in my academics, so I want to give the boards. So, it took a week for them to pacify me, to tell that to go and play this tournament. My parents, in fact, wanted me to skip the boards and go and, play this tournament, where there was no guarantee that I would get picked. But they wanted me to have a chance. And, it was difficult because I was young. But something which I made a pact with myself. If I'm going to forego my board exams, then it better had to be that I get picked in the team, and just not in the team, but I have to find a way to get into the 11. So I got selected. I also got to go to New Zealand and play the World Cup. So I think it has a lot to do with the choices that you make, because each choice leads you to a different door, and a different path. And it all has to do with the priorities that you have at that point of time or that juncture in your career.
Absolutely. Hats off to your courage. At the same time, hats off to your parents, their support and the confidence that they had in you, because of which today she is here and she has this, wonderful feat which very few people of her likes have achieved. Truly coming from that time, that family where, it's just because of your immediate family that they had trust in you, but otherwise society by and large, first being a woman, aspiring, as I said, to play the gentleman's game, fighting that taboo, fighting lack of visibility, fighting for support and infrastructure, and surely that is reaping benefits today. Talking about matches, so you said how you've sort of overcome all of those challenges. You, talking about World Cup, under your captaincy, by the way, you became the captain at such a young age of 22. Again, I could just go on and on about her laurels all day. But yes, so under your captaincy in 2005, we reached the World Cup finals. We faced Australia in South Africa. Then again in 2017, under your captaincy, we again reached the finals, faced England at Lord's. But, one thing to come out of your success certainly is the rise in profile of women's cricket in India. But there is a stark difference in the way people back home received India's success. 2005 compared to 2017. How do you look at this popularity transition? Has it been slower than expected or much faster?
Well, see, there are factors like when it came to 2005. Yes, we were definitely not under the banner of BCCI. We were under WCI, that is Women's Cricket Association of India. And, those were the days when, financially the WCI wasn't so funded, so strongly funded, that we couldn't manage to get a series. Sometimes the entire year goes without playing a series. So the 2005, yes, the team did well, but when we came back, there was hardly anybody there at the airport to receive us, despite being runners-up in the World Cup. Just our family members and some friends. And from there to 2017, yes, when we came under BCCI in 2007, things definitely started to, change for the better for women's cricket. A lot more of structure and organized way of conducting domestic tournaments, the access to facilities, like as a international player, I was access to the National Cricket Academy in Bangalore, where we were educated about how to conduct ourselves. What is it where when you go through an injury phase, how do you train during tournaments? So these were a new concept for us. It came a little later. These are the things that in today's time a young teenager learns, how to sort of protect yourself from injuries, and if you have, how do you cope with it? You have sports psychologists to work on your mindset. You have a video analyst who can actually scrutinize your technical aspect of your game. Back then, I don't even have a recording of my world record. It's more to do in terms of memories, my teammates, and we sometimes, talk about it. So yes, it's what is the difference between 2005 and 17? Definitely coming and playing under the ICC. And 2017, particularly a World Cup, which was marketed brilliantly, I would say, because that was a period when the social media came into existence, where you had Twitter, you had Instagram, and these things magnifies, in fact, amplifies everything that you do within seconds. And I think ICC really did a brilliant job there. To promoters have these huge hoardings. I remember it was a Champions Trophy when India was playing Pakistan, and I was watching the match and I saw myself on the big hoarding in the stadium. So I was telling, I said, this is good good publicity for women's cricket when we're getting into the World Cup. And another factor which really helped was that all of India's matches were televised, and the team was doing really well in the World Cup. So I think these factors helped that, helped to enhance the profile of women's cricket globally after the 2017 World Cup, and which sadly wasn't the state of affairs in 2005 for any of the teams across the world.
So you did speak about this. Definitely, we've come a long way. Women's cricket has come a long way from the obscurities of the 90s to now, all of you being household names. Do you think we would ever be able to achieve parity between the men's team and the women's team in terms of fame, acknowledgement, opportunity, or even remuneration for that matter?
See, I think if I have to see about men's cricket, every sport goes through a journey. Men's cricket also has gone through its journey from winning the 1983 World Cup, since then the 2011 World Cup. So, today where men's cricket is, it's not an overnight success, or it's what BCCI has done overnight. It has been a journey. It's been years and years of, thinking about how to promote the sport and market the players. Similarly, I think women's cricket is also on that journey. The 2017 was where it started, and in few years' time, I'm sure we will come to a stage where if it is remuneration or opportunities, things will be on a similar, on par with the men's cricket. But I'm not a person of, I would not want to compare things, whether it's men's cricket, women's cricket, sport in general. It should not be like, where you're comparing women's tennis with men's tennis. Comparisons, leads to a very different atmosphere.
Absolutely.
And it's a sport, it is meant for everybody. And at the end of the day, all of us should enjoy watching our own athletes represent the country, putting up their best, whether male, female, doesn't matter, because they are representing you on a global platform, and that itself is...
One thing that's there is that in these 23 years, especially all of us, all of them would agree with me that at one point in time in every professional career, we have this time where we feel that we are at our lowest. Did that ever come to you? What is the key behind sustaining this illustrious career? In fact, if I may ask, what is the Mithali mantra that you live by?
Well, of course, there have been many a times, just not one instance, many a times I had to sort of face those, as I said, disappointments, how the fear of failure and anxiety issues. And, when you're in times of despair, or times when your back is against the wall, it is very natural, even as athletes, because we're also humans, we do feel, getting in self-doubt whether we are capable of it, or whether we deserve to be here because, I'm not performing, or it's not happening with me. But I think it's just not about, when people talk about athletes, they talk about discipline. It's just not about the physical discipline of maintaining a routine. But I think it's also mental discipline that really helped me to make those, those days shorter. It didn't have to be like months. It helped me to come out of it within days. Yes, even I've gone through the self-doubts, questioned whether, I should continue playing cricket for various factors. But the mindset that I had, and that is also because of the support mechanism that I had around me, my family, friends, parents, who helped me to sort of endure that phase without, getting deeper into distress. And the mindset, a lot of people say we need to have strong mindset, but what are the factors which lead you to mindset? What is that tells your mind to do certain things? Is basically your character. Your character, the way you, the qualities that you have as a person, your constructive ideas, how you create ideas in your mind. These are the things which will help you to make a strong mind. And it's just not about skill. Yes, as athletes, we work a lot on our skill, but it's equally important that we work on our mental space, the emotional space, because athletes also feel the emotions when we compete. Different emotions, and how do you control them? And how do you sort of not shut them, but use them as a weapon to inspire your own self to come out of those difficult situations and, show this resilience to again fight. So yes, of course, there have been days, but there's something that my mother said. She said, you've been an inspiration to many people. Why don't you, show the same sort of resilience for your own self? It's easy to sort of talk and tell people, this is what just do it. But then when it comes to us, we sort of take some time.
Would you like to share one example, even if it's something, as old as your training days, something that defines resilience, consistency, and persistence, just so, it's an inspiration to the younger lot out there?
Well, let me share something with the recent World Cup. So, I played the Bangladesh game, and I had a golden duck. I got out on a first ball, and I just I didn't know what I did there. So I walked out, and that day I spoke to my best friend in the evening, and she asked me, like, how could you just get out on a first ball, that too against Bangladesh? I said, I just don't know. So she's like, you are doing everything that you haven't done in these 23 years in this World Cup. So I said, for everything there's a first time, so it's okay. So I told her, I said, is it that I'm not good enough? Because I'm used to consistently, every second innings of mine, I've been scoring 50s for over a decade or so. So I said, this World Cup, I'm unable to do it. I mean, of course, I've scored 50, but not with the consistency that I'm known for. So she said, it's just a game. You're too hard on yourself. Overnight, you cannot be so bad. So the next game, we were playing South Africa, the last game. So she said, just go out there and play as though you're the Mithali Raj. So, when she said that, there was something which sort of flickered in my mind that, after so many years playing for India, I still felt the jitters and the nerves. So I told her, I said, I still feel the butterflies, even after so many years. It should be like, I walk in there, score runs. I've played Bangladesh, I've played South Africa before. So she said, it's good to have, because you're not overconfident.
Correct.
But just be so confident in your preparation that you've prepared very hard. Don't give up into your fears. Don't relive what has happened in the past. It's a fresh start.
Right.
And there is always have faith in your ability. And when she said these things, it really helped me to score those runs against South Africa. And it's again those days when you come out of the fear that you have.
Right.
That's where you need courage. And that is everyday thing. It is not something that, one of those tournaments you
Very
just go
well
through.
said. That courage is, it's an everyday thing, and I think that's what keeps us, as a human race, alive and hoping for the best. I'm really short on time, but I definitely want you to share some snippets of the dressing room. We are such a dynamic team, a mix of ages and experiences. So you have, for example, Dipali, Shefali, who was not even born when you started playing cricket. There's Jhulan Goswami, who is the top pacer, just as your age. How is the dressing room like when there is so much dynamism? Is there any dressing room ritual that you or the team have before you play the match?
Well, when you have such a diverse group of girls coming from different parts of the country with different age groups, I think it's important that, the atmosphere is healthy, where everybody has an opportunity to speak their mind, to give ideas, to throw some ideas, because what Shefali Verma's perspective is not necessarily the similar perspective Jhulan Goswami has. So everybody gets a new idea, so it's always good to hear your teammates talk. And the ritual that we had for the World Cup, the recent World Cup, is that before getting into the ground, we all gather in a circle and, we sort of, in a way, we were trying to, manifest that, whatever things that we felt on that day, the emotions that we felt, that as a positive unit, to share it among each other. Because when you sit in a circle, you're sort of sharing your vibe. the positive vibe with your own teammates. So even somebody, a youngster is having the nerves, there is somebody else who's sharing a very positive vibe with them. So we would sit in a circle for 5 to 10 seconds, 10 minutes, and think the way we would want to approach the game and what are things that we are going to do on that particular day. That is our goal as a team. So that is one of the rituals that we did in the World Cup.
Well, that's, a very formal experience to share. But I want to know, informally, just a very candid answer from you. What's the camaraderie that you share with them? How do they address you? Are they terrified of you? Are they scared of you? Of course, they look up to you. But, some snippets from the dressing room.
Well, obviously, if you have such a huge age difference, so clearly there will be a bit of a gap in the way they perceive things and the way they look up to me because, as I said, we were sharing few things backstage, like Richa Ghosh
Would you like to share it here
was
as
someone,
well?
I shared, I think, a 100-run partnership with her against New Zealand. And even I didn't know, then again, it is something through social media, I got to know that she was not even born when I made my debut. And I was playing with her, alongside her. And we were running like 2s and 3s. And I was like, I told her, thoda to age ka khayal rakh yaar. You're making me run so much for boundaries, hit the boundaries and sixes, don't make me so tired. She's like, Didi, मैं कोशिश करूँगी कि आपको भगाने इतना नहीं भगा पाऊँ. So I was like, yeah.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a huge,
So
huge
many,
round
I'm
of applause.
certain you have like a repertoire of instances and episodes to share, but unfortunately we're really short on time. Just one last question. So you have your biopic coming out. In fact, her movie is all set to hit theaters on the 15th of July. In fact, you recently tweeted as well a few days ago, there is nothing more powerful than a girl with a dream. This is a story of one such girl who chased her dream with a bat and changed the gentleman's game forever. Shabash Mithu, the unheard story of women in blue. So what is it that you hope from this film in terms of its impact on the audience, in terms of how people perceive women's cricket? What do you hope out of your biopic?
Well, I think definitely to inspire more girls to take up sport. I'm not trying to endorse they have to only take cricket, but any sport, a girl should also be encouraged to take up. And it is also, the movie is also about all those ex-cricketers before me who still continued the sport so that a young girl like me could take up the sport in those days, the struggles, the challenges posed by the society. Many cricketers, many ex-cricketers who were so talented could not get the opportunity to play further. For whatever reasons, they had to cut short their careers. And today, where, we've seen women's cricket come under BCCI, where shortly next year we might be having women's IPL. Girls are contracted players. They get to play leagues around the world. Matches are televised. They are names in themselves. They are brand. So the movie is also an acknowledgement to all those unknown women cricketers. Maybe the world wouldn't know, but because of them, a young girl took up sport. And maybe because of this movie, there are many more girls who will take up the sport.
Well,
Lovely.
hopefully this movie will manage to create that impact, and I have full confidence in your story, in your inspiration, and Tapsi Pannu's acting skills as well. I hope she's sort of come somewhere close to mastering the cover drive. That's your signature technique. And, well, let's wait and watch what the film has in store. But,
Well,
I'm really short on time. But, Mithali Raj, you've been an absolute joy. This entire conversation has been so fabulous. A huge round of
Thank
applause,
you.
ladies and gentlemen, once again for Mithali Raj.